Welcome! Come join us today as I'm going to show you what I think will be your new favorite brunch spot on the Strip. The first time I tasted this food, I fell into an altered state of mind. The ceiling faded away, the floor seemed to disappear, and I felt I was reliving my childhood. Well, the fun parts of it, that is. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet every Sunday in this posh Las Vegas restaurant in a posh Vegas hotel. Blvd's has been open 10 years and is another great example of a Vegas gem hidden in plain sight. Well, not completely. While it's close to the Grand Canal shops and the Venetian, you do have to venture down this somewhat innocuous hallway that looks more like an access way to a utility closet, but close enough. It's owned by Buddy Valastro. He's a very talented chef who cooks traditional Italian cuisine. He's known for his pastries and cakes as well, and has earned the nickname of Cake Boss, from which his TV show was named. He also happens to make homemade cheeses and pasta. They are to die for. The buffet is $55 per person, with an all-you-can-drink special for only $20 more. The drink special includes any of the wines by the glass, Prosecco, Bellinis, beer, or mimosas. If you're one to imbibe, this is a fantastic deal, considering it's hard to find a place on the Strip where a single glass of wine won't cost you at least $15. At Labo, the single glass of house Pinot Noir I ordered was $22. Okay, that was a house wine. What do they charge for the good stuff? Let's get started with the lemon blueberry pancakes. Oh my, just the name alone makes my mouth water. I was very happy to see they give you just 2 small pancakes so you don't fill up. I was reluctant to order these thinking they were going to be full size. They were totally delicious, served hot right off the griddle. Little fluffy cakes infused with blueberries and fresh lemon rind. The lemon's a very subtle enhancement to these cakes, and the fresh whipped butter, raspberries, and maple syrup really finish them off nicely. They're one of the few items one must order and is not available out at the buffet table. And this makes a lot of sense, as things like pancakes can get pretty old and unpleasant rather quickly in a warming tray. Another item which must be ordered is the French toast with ciabatta bread and almonds resting in a bed of sumptuous cream. I'm sure Buddy bakes the ciabatta bread. It's thick and holds up to the batter and kept the texture perfectly. It's French toast with integrity. It's what I call the E.F. Hutton of French toast. I've never had anything quite like this. The cream on top and the almonds provide a unique taste, and the maple syrup brings it together into one cohesive breakfast dish. It was thoroughly wonderful. This is the best shrimp cocktail I've tasted in Las Vegas to date. It's hard to imagine how they could have been any better. I mean, I guess they could have come with a gold coin or something. Fresh, briny ocean taste and an almost sweet, shrimpy flavor. The texture has the perfect firmness a prawn should have, just the right amount of fight to it. A perfect chew. The quality is outstanding, and the flavor is so good we went back several times for more. The cocktail sauce is magnificent, sweet and spicy, spicy. I remember how great the buffet at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel was 30 years ago. They served wonderful prawns. Those prawns have always been the yardstick against which I've measured all others. Well, I now have a new yardstick. Okay, time for some beef. On our first visit, we were told this was a ribeye. I was pretty sure it was really top sirloin. I've seen the pepper-crusted ribeye in some of the other videos. And this ain't it, kid. In any case, it's wonderful. A great prime grade of meat with perfect fat-to-meat ratio. Rich, buttery, tender. This was one of my favorite things at the buffet. The horseradish was a wonderful accompaniment to the exceptional beef. The chimichurri was tasty as well, but I preferred that creamy horseradish. On our second visit, they confirmed that it was top sirloin, so I'm not sure why there was so much confusion on the first visit. This chicken parm, wonderful. I love the crispy, perfectly breaded chicken, pounded flat with a fantastic crust. The delicious tomato sauce, tart, touch acidic, but mostly vibrant, a true fresh sauce, topped with Buddy's homemade mozzarella. I think this was one of the standout dishes at the buffet. I ate 3 pieces and was thinking about it days later. This plate came from their antipasto section. I enjoyed the hummus. I'm not sure it belonged in the antipasto section of an Italian brunch. Nonetheless, very tasty indeed. Great Parm cheese, one of my favorite things to snack on, and this was sensational. The antipasto salad, great. Your traditional well-made vinaigrette dressing atop artichoke, sun-dried tomatoes, bitter greens, and goat cheese. And this blue cheese, to die for. It goes so well in what I'm sure are crostinis made from homemade bread, sliced and lovingly toasted. It's a creamy blue cheese, and oh, so very good. The Focaccia bread was so fresh. Given the number of times I saw new trays of this being brought out, it's obviously people go nuts for it. There's an art to making Focaccia bread properly, and Buddy knows what he's doing. The flavors infused into this bread were fantastic. I could eat piece after piece of this masterpiece in dough. It's seasoned with Italian spices and fresh Parm mixed in, then baked till it's nice and crispy on the outside, warm and fluffy on the inside. It's even better dipped in extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar, which isn't available on the buffet line, but when we inquired, they gleefully brought us some. The Caesar salad was very good. I really loved it. Garlicky, punchy flavor of tart lemon and the umami-ness of anchovy. Not a true tableside Caesar, but high quality for a buffet version. What makes this Caesar stand out is the polenta croutons. Yes, you heard me right. They were incredible. Fried, seasoned polenta, bites of deliciousness. I could eat a whole bowl of these. I've had cornbread croutons, but never polenta, and these were great. I really enjoyed how well they played off the romaine lettuce and this terrific dressing. I went back up to the buffet and took a few more of the croutons after I finished my salad, just so I could have some extra ones with the rest of my meal. The breakfast pastry plate was all very good and all homemade by Blvd. This croissant, nice and flaky, yet so buttery soft. Look at the layers and air pockets inside. I really enjoyed this chocolate croissant as well. There's a lot of love that went into this by the cake boss himself. Also light and buttery, and you can tell it was just baked, probably at Carlos's across the way. That's Buddy's son's bakery. The pops of chocolate chips are great. Again, look at these air pockets. I love the orange taste in these muffins as well. The cranberries just sent it over the top with a tart little burst of flavor. While I always avoid pizza at an all-you-can-eat affair, come on, this is an Italian place with a great Jersey chef, so the pizza is a must. And it didn't disappoint. White pies aren't always my thing, but this white pizza, mushrooms, cheese, and truffles on top, very well made, authentic New York style crust. It was fantastic. Good air pockets, and look here, you can see what a well-made pizza crust looks like. This is how it should appear. Again, more of Buddy's homemade mozzarella cheese. All make this pizza very memorable. Mac and cheese carbonara. Many real Italians would turn their noses up at this because it's not a true carbonara, but an infusion with famous American mac and cheese, making this an American Western interpretation of carbonara. Being that I'm also an Italian infusion with an American, I thought this dish was great. Italian-American comfort food at its finest. I think this was my favorite thing at the buffet. I could eat a huge bowl of this. I'm sure Buddy makes wonderful pastas. I wish they offered more at the buffet. Not having a pasta station or offering other pastas was really the only disappointment we had here today. Grandma's meatballs. Normally when I hear this term, it gets my blood boiling, as my grandmother was Italian and made the best meatballs on the planet, and rarely do meatballs with this name not disappoint. However, these were every bit as good as the ones I grew up with. Tender, light, and full of real authentic Italian flavor. When I was a kid, we had an Italian butcher shop in my town, and my mom's butcher, Mario, always had a ground blend of meats that were made just for meatballs. It was veal, pork, and beef. Buddy uses the same authentic blend to make his delightful meatballs. Buddy, I can't say anything bad about these wonderful meatballs, and you're welcome to call them Grandma's meatballs. I can tell you had a real Italian grandma who probably taught you how to make them. The sauce is tomatoey, just good old-fashioned Italian gravy made from pure tomato cooked down with a little garlic, basil, and good olive oil. Spectacular. The first time we visited here, the sign for the chicken wings was a bit beat up, and it looked like these were labeled as broken wings. We had a debate at the table. Was it broken wings, Hoboken wings, or Hobroken wings? Well, either way, they were terrific. Bits of pickled fried pepperoncini and tomato with terrifically flavored chicken wings. Not really Italian, maybe, possibly a Jersey style. Moist, juicy, and lots of flavor that permeated the skin. On our second visit, the sign had been replaced, and it was Hoboken wings. Makes sense from a Jersey boy. The frittata was an adorable little round bite of eggy goodness with a lot going on, sausage and mozzarella cheese. The orecchietta pasta was very Italian tasting, another standout dish. In Italian, orecchietta means little ears, and thus the shape of this pasta. It's a dish from southern Italy, usually with a ham and cream-based sauce. Here, it's prepared with sausage, tomato, and quality olive oil. Pure, clean flavors, with perfectly prepared al dente little ears. What more can you ask for? We both enjoyed this very much. It was scrumptious. Many times, pasta's texture is compromised at a buffet, but not here. The sausage was a delicious homemade Italian pork sausage with lots of fennel and Italian herbs. A little spicy, just the way I like it. Moist, juicy, and well seasoned. The potatoes are good. Not great, they're not overly crispy, but had lots of flavor. They for sure weren't bland, but not my favorite thing today. All right, off to desserts. Fortunately, we were seated right next to the dessert section. Always my favorite place to be seated. So we had the full meal to be enticed by these amazing looking sweets. This cheesecake is the best I've had since I moved to Vegas 7 years ago. It's a true New York cheesecake, and my God is it wonderful. It's also visually beautiful. The base is a graham cracker crust held together with butter. The iced top is a sour cream and cheese-infused masterpiece with white chocolate chips adding to the total decadence of this treat. The cheesecake itself is light and airy with just perfect texture. This is clearly an inspired dish by the cake boss. The chocolate-covered strawberries. They were as stunning in flavor as they were in appearance. I love my chocolate as bitter as a scorned woman, and my strawberries as sweet and bright as the first blossoms of spring. I could have eaten the entire tray of these. The cannolis, also the best I've had in years. The shells are wonderfully fresh, flaky, light, and with just the right amount of cinnamon and sugar coating. The filling is a beautiful blend of ricotta, lemon, and sugar, each end dipped in the perfect amount of chocolate chips and pistachios. Just seeing these cookies, and my memories are flooded back to my childhood. Every Christmas, my grandmother would send us a huge hat box with layer upon layer of cookies that she had baked, and they look just like these. Buddy is a wonderful baker, almost as good as my grandma. I love the shortbread recipe he uses, and these sprinkles infused cookies are heavenly. Next time, I'll have to bring a hat box along and see if I can smuggle it out at the end of the meal. Maybe throw in some of those polenta croutons as well. Sadly, this banana cake was one of the weaknesses in the dessert section. Very forgettable, except for the adorable miniature version of a domed cake dish. I wager they must buy replacements by the truckload, as I'm sure nearly everyone takes one or more of those home with them. At the risk of self-incrimination, I'll just say we saw a few disappear while we were there. The chocolate butterscotch chip cookies were great. Very soft and chewy, with all the right flavors going on. You don't see butterscotch too much these days. They had a butterscotch ice cream at the Wicked Spoon Buffet, but I think someone forgot to include the butterscotch. My mother had a butterscotch obsession. It was like old home week with these perfectly made cookies. I'm kind of on the fence with this tiramisu. It was very boozy. It seemed out of balance to me. Too much whipped cream and not enough pastry or crumb to offset it. The chocolate on top was the best part. The Thumbprint Cookies are wonderful, also reminding me of my childhood. My grandmother made great preserves and then put a big dollop on top of her shortbread cookies. And this is just what they tasted like. Fantastic. These lemon raspberry meringue tarts are delicious and beautiful. I love the singed swirl on top, paying visual homage to the beautiful onion domes of Moscow. These are perfectly lemony on the inside with a bright fresh layer of raspberry on the bottom. And the pastry shell? Well, let's just say Paul Hollywood would have given Buddy a handshake for making these. They were sensational. These Zeppole reminded me of the homemade fried dough my grandmother made many a Sunday night. We kids would gobble them up almost as soon as they came out of the frying pan. Rolled hot in sugar, they're the stuff little Italian boys' dreams are made of, especially those who dream of being little fat Italian boys. Buddy makes his own dough. It's the same dough he uses for his perfect pizza crust. They come 2 to a bag, which is perfect amount for most, but not for me. I consumed several of these bags. Finally, there was the Panna Cotta. This is my favorite dessert at this buffet, and that's quite the honor given the competition. It's light and creamy. On the top, there's some sort of honey-infused, yet also very light and hard to describe layer. Honestly, I have no idea what's in this. I just know it's the dessert I've been dreaming about since we left. You won't want to miss this. Well, it doesn't take a mind reader to know how we felt about Blvd's. It was a delicious meal in a cozy environment with attentive, warm, and professional staff. A famous writer once quipped, "You can't go home again." Well, I just did at Blvd's. So many dishes filled my thoughts with the tastes and traditions of home. I wasn't expecting this type of experience, but I'm so glad we gave this restaurant a try. Twice. Sometimes after a wonderful restaurant experience, one can feel a tinge of hesitance to return, fearing the second visit could only be a letdown compared to the first. But that was not true at Blvd's. Each visit was deeply satisfying. And while making this video and seeing all the food again, we're already planning our third visit, soon. And while there are so many fantastic items from which to choose, my next visit will have a secret motivation: to devour more of that perfect Panna Cotta. Some of the other reviewers we've seen hem and haw as to whether this buffet is worth the $55. To us, it's a no-brainer. This buffet is well worth the price and an overall first-rate dining experience. I'm so happy you could join us here at Blvd's today. We love this place, and it's a true find here in Vegas. I hope you'll check it out and that you love it as much as we do. One final note, there's free parking right across the street at the Fashion Show Mall, and for locals, 3 hours free within the Venetian parking lot. Okay, maybe we'll see you at Blvd's, and make sure to tell them Let's Eat Vegas sent you. I know we're all guilty of watching videos on YouTube and not subscribing. As a reminder, it's free to subscribe, and it really helps us bring you more videos. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, and hit the notifications bell. It means a lot to us. Until we eat again, bon appetit.